Uncle Mike.
Yes, Uncle Mike. All right. So, yeah, that does look good with the light.
Yeah.
So, we'll give people a little time to get on.
Start logging.
Yeah, a little time to get on. But they're just on fleek.
This rain is not my friend.
Yeah. All weekend. Too.
I know. Yeah.
Right? Kind of Mother's Day weekend.
Oh,
is
yeah.
that?
Happy
yeah.
Mother's Day.
Oh, thank you. Thank you.
Happy Mother's Day. All right, so we got some people perfect. They all coming in. So where is Callie? What's going on with her?
Callie is actually at a birthday party.
Okay.
She kind of stays booked way more than me. She's going to a swimming party.
Okay.
It's indoor, so
Okay.
let her live her life.
Right. Exactly. Well, you know, you're a part of a grand family.
Yeah, my kid is very. She just has 9 tons of personality.
Wow.
So she's like, all right, bye, see you later.
Yeah.
Okay.
But you have that, so.
Yeah, she has it on both sides.
Yeah,
honestly.
yeah.
Like.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, both sides. She just. She stood no chance. Like.
Yeah.
Double dose.
Oh yeah, for sure.
All right, so they saying, hey, Uncle Mike, and everybody's tuning in.
What did I miss?
Yeah. That's good. That's good. Okay.
That's some hearts.
Yeah. I'm going to bring it up over here so that, like, when people start to give us some questions. Yeah.
All right, cool.
So, the thing is up. Okay. We look good. That shouldn't be the only thing I'm worried about, but we look good.
But it's important.
Yes, it is. All right, everybody. So, welcome again to Let's Talk About a Podcast. We are going to have a very interesting topic today. I know it's been a minute since I've been back. The last podcast I did was on Good Friday, matter of fact, and it was about the norms in the church or why people don't go to church. So we discussed all of those things, and a lot has happened since then. But now we're back. God kind of aligned things up again. I hate to kind of get spiritual on things, but God kind of aligned things up because that episode on the church was on Good Friday, and now we're talking about co-parenting, which is right before Mother's Day.
Yeah.
So like I mean I don't know.
Perfect set.
Yeah, perfect set, but that's a good talk show host.
Yeah.
Go ahead, pat yourself on the back.
A good talk show host. But on top of I don't know if you all have seen it, but on Facebook there's this new talk show a Facebook show called Red Table Talk with Jada Pinkett Smith, and she talked Jada Pinkett Smith and Will Smith ex-wife actually sat down after years and discussing like the things they had to deal with co-parenting, and Jada coming in as the new woman and trying to step in their role as to be a stepmom and whatever.
Mm-hmm.
So all of that can kind of tie into this as well. So I'm again excited to bring this episode to you. I'm going to go ahead and introduce my guest. On my right here, I have my brother Will.
Hey,
yes.
hello.
He was on the last episode talking about family aspects, which was a really good episode. A lot of people still to this day tell me that was one of the most touching episodes that I've done, and it allowed them to like really express some things that they have never expressed before. So that was a good one. To my left, probably to your right, we have Miss Gabby Ruffin.
Hola.
Gabby, we went to Central State together. Well, she came in after I did.
Mm-hmm.
I'm pretty much like the alpha chapter. She came in after I did, but Gabby came in and she made her mark on campus. This was Miss Central State University.
Woo-hoo.
Central State University, 2012.
2012.
Yes, 2011, 2012. we had some good times at Central.
Absolutely.
We had some good times at Central. Now we are parents, which is really crazy.
Oh yeah.
Which is really crazy. So I'm gonna go ahead and get started. Again, this episode is titled Co-Parenting, No Baby Mama or Baby Daddy Drama.
Please.
Yes, no baby mama, baby daddy drama. I know that I guess I'll start the conversation off. You know, when me and my son's mother got together, I hate the term baby mama, so I always refer to my son's mother as my son's mother until she make me mad. Then, then she becomes a baby mama. But I keep that respect there. Yeah,
And it's better than some other terms.
exactly. Yeah, exactly. Exactly. So I give her the mother of my son's mother. I can just say that no one ever expects to be in a co-parenting situation. But I didn't expect, even when like our relationship ended, I did not expect it to have some of the twists and turns that it had. I always think to myself like, no, that ain't what happened to me. We're going to be able to be adults. We're going to be able to speak respectfully and responsibly, because at the center of it all is the child.
Yes.
Right.
But somehow, somewhere in there, that kind of gets blurred a little bit. It gets blurred a little bit, and then we'll go further into like some of the questions I have and some of the events. But if anybody want to chime in as to not like how you got into the situation, but how the situation kind of unfolded, were you the one that left, or were you the one that, I don't want to say like got dumped, but were you the one in the situation where it's like they kind of went on their own way and kind of left you to fend for yourself? What do you have?
Well, if I could be honest, me and Callie's dad, we dated on and off since we were 14. He was my first date. But at the time when I got pregnant with Callie, we weren't together. Like, he wasn't my boyfriend. I wasn't his.
Same here.
I wasn't his girlfriend. I think we were just two people who were comfortable with each other. And honestly, I was kind of like, this is gonna sound really crazy because I'm a pretty smart person most of the time. But I think we were both, or I know especially me, I was just in a place in my life where I was being honestly a little reckless.
Okay.
Reckless with somebody who I felt like I could be reckless with.
Yeah.
But I honestly didn't even think about the possibility of pregnancy. I took like 7 tests.
Yeah.
Like, oh, no. This isn't happening. Not to me. I'm a good girl. And
yeah, absolutely.
And I don't have sex on a regular basis. And like, this can't be happening to me. But, it did, obviously. And as far as our situation, we are who we are. We've been kind of the same people since we met. So we're very much so alike, which means in some cases it's perfect. His father is my pastor. So as far as a lot of our values and morals, we're on the same platform. We're lined up. But we're also two very stubborn, very
You're a Leo,
strong-willed people. And sometimes that can cause a little conflict when it's like, no, you need to listen to what I'm saying. And neither one of us is, kind of listening. So I think that on the spectrum of like bad to amazing, we're somewhere in the middle as far as co-parenting situations go. Just because I think that even though our situation isn't ideal, never in a million years would I have guessed I would have been a single mom, ever. But at least when it gets crazy between us, we can go back to the root of, this has been my friend since forever. Like, cut the crap, let's talk here.
Yeah.
Or I'm gonna tell your mama.
Right. I got you. What you got?
Yeah, similar couple of kids, and the first one I'd like to say that I was probably a little reckless too. I was young and just thinking, just doing what we do, and not thinking that far in advance. And so that child is older and grown now. Then I got married, and I thought I'd be married, meant those vows till death do us part. And sometimes life has different twists and turns, and so we divorced, and so we're co-parenting now. And it's just funny to see how different people are when it comes to a child, and so I'm very conscious, now that a lot of times we don't really look at that person before we take that next step, because that's going to be the person, that's going to have great influence on your child. And so it's been an amazing journey. It's been challenging, but
I remember something that you told me. Again, you're going to hear a lot of these things. This man has molded me. Mostly good. Mostly good. But what he told me was that, like, when you are dating someone, as far as, in our case, when you're dating someone, look at their mother. Look at their mother, because, again, that child has been molded by that person. So, like, some of their things and some of their, the way that they think is going to be based off that. And as far as physical appearance, too. He told me that too, as far as physical appearance, that, it doesn't fall too far from the tree. And, so I looked at all those things, and yeah, I'm not going to go any further. I'm not going to go any further. Because what I did say, I let both of my co-hosts know that this will never be a bashing situation to where we're talking bad about, the parents of our children. Because again, we were with them. So if we're going to talk bad about them, then it's a reflection on us. It's a reflection on us. I like what you said, Gabby, about being reckless. Because I never thought about that. When I had my child, when I not had him, but when my son's mother got pregnant, this was right off me moving out of my mom's house, a month into moving into my own apartment.
Okay. So you was
a month moving into my apartment, my son was conceived. So, I looked at that and was like, first I was down on myself, first embarrassed, because like you, I was heavily involved in the church. My nieces and nephews, they all look up to me, and one of the worst things is to be embarrassed publicly like that.
Oh, who you telling?
Oh, we're going to get into we're going to get into that. One of the things is to be publicly embarrassed like that, and really, after it comes down to it, it is embarrassing, but you really become your own worst critic.
Yes.
You're the one who are the most down on yourself during that time. And it was a hard time. It was a hard time for me to come through it. But I looked at that and I said, when I was staying with my mom, this didn't happen then, and then all of a sudden I get out on my own. I think I have I'm grown, I'm grown. I can do what I want to. I can have any amount of people come over at my house and stay because it's mine. So that was
cost to be the boss.
Yeah, I know, right? And they paid the cost. Son is a blessing, but it's definitely a cost. Yeah. So I'm going to go to the next question I had. I said, did you see for the relationship that you were in with your kids' parents? Did you see them for the long haul, or did you know? Did you know it won't last long, or what was the case? So I'll give you mine, for example. So me and my son's mother, I knew her growing up or whatever like that. We kind of reconnected later on after I graduated college or whatever. But I can't necessarily say that when me and her started dating that I knew I could marry her, because that's what you're supposed to look for. Yeah. Especially when you're having sex, especially when you're having unprotected sex.
Right.
You're supposed to look at things like that, what if this happens? And I didn't look at any of that. So for me, I cannot say that I can say that when I was in a relationship, I tried to force it and make it last and make it work out. But my initial thought wasn't that this could be someone that I could marry, or this will be someone that I can spend 15 years with.
Right.
You know?
15. I need you to. I need you to.
I don't know. Do
Definitely do us part.
Well,
Whichever comes first.
I'll say, like I said, Callie's that was my first date. So when I was 14, I thought like this gonna be the man I will marry. And I think that it became a reoccurring theme. We would be cool, we'd fall out because, like I said, we're both extremely headstrong, and nobody apologizes. And then we're like, I'm not mad at you no more, and it'd be cool. I'm like, yeah, this song I'm married. We're just so much alike, and it just works. And when it's good, it's great, and it's seamless, and it's perfect. But honestly, at the time when I got pregnant with Callie, that wasn't my mindset wasn't on marriage. So in 2013, it was just a series of unfortunate events. I lost. I didn't win Miss Michigan USA. I never competed that year. A week after I lost that, my mom went into a coma. And when she came out, she didn't remember me, and it was just extremely traumatic. And then she had to go through this whole season of like learning how to walk again, learning how to talk again, rehab. And so I'm there every single day, and then trying to figure out, okay, so what am I going to do with my life now? And then her boyfriend, who I lived with my mom at the time, and her boyfriend who lived there, we were like going like headbutt, and it was just like I felt like I had no control in my life. So when I was with him, I felt like I didn't have to think anymore. I could just close out the world and just be whatever I wanted to be in that moment. And then so that's where the whole recklessness came to play, because I've had the question asked, what were you thinking? I wasn't thinking at all. I was just doing whatever I felt at the moment, trying to be numb to real life, So once we found out, that I was pregnant, the idea of marriage was introduced, not by neither one of us, but and
because you guys are church kids.
We're church kids, and I said to myself, I don't want anyone to marry me just because I'm pregnant, because it won't last. If we weren't talking about getting married before I got pregnant, I don't want it to be, I've known you forever. If this wasn't something that you wanted to ask me, a month or two before now, what's changed? I'm the same person, you're the same person. So let's not even go down that path. And I know a lot of people do, for the sake of the child.
Oh, Lord.
But I feel like this. I mean, this is my personal opinion, so no shade to anyone who's gone that route. But I want my daughter to see me, or to see both of us, happy and living our best lives and being able to bounce back from making poor decisions versus being trapped into something that we really didn't want. Because I feel like, I know my kid that she for sure picks up on when things are rocky, when they're not going well. So imagine us in the same house bumping heads because neither of us was ready to be in something. And I just don't see that being a good situation for all three, And he also has a son as well. So I don't see that being, it didn't make sense for us to try to jump into something because now there's a baby here.
So it was never in the, I mean, ideally younger, you thought they would be the one that you married, but it wasn't, when you guys got together and had the baby, it wasn't like, no, well, now we have to do it.
Right.
Okay.
Right. It didn't feel like that. In fact, it felt like, I think you start to see people, you respond differently when a child is introduced. So I know some of my ugly sides for sure came out during pregnancy, and I believe some of his did too. And I think that, we were able to move on and forgive, but in the heat of that situation where not only was it the two of us having a child unexpectedly, but we had a lot of outside opinions, a lot of people spreading our business or creating stories about whatever was happening, and it was trying to fly above that, and it was a lot. So I'm not trying to think about adding in
Yeah.
something like a whole lifetime commitment
Yeah,
on
yeah,
top of that.
yeah.
Like I'm trying to figure out how am I gonna be a mama to somebody when 2 weeks before I found out I was pregnant, I got kicked out of my house. So not only on top of that, I'm homeless.
Yeah,
like
yeah.
I'm not thinking about no
Yeah.
marriage. Where am I gonna live?
Yeah,
You know?
yeah. Wow.
So yeah.
Yeah. Again, a little bit different experience in that we were married.
Yeah.
You know, and so yes, I thought at the altar that it would be forever, and so things happen. You know, people grow apart,
and you were together though a while before.
Even before we were married,
Yeah.
I would like to say, you know, I think we dated maybe about 9-10 years before, and then stayed married about 14. So a lot of years, really good friend, like you said, where we know each other, but we're both stubborn too. You know? And when you have two people who have those conflicting wills, you know, the worst thing I believe is to try to make it work for a child, but it never works. And children, again, I agree, they pick up on that. You know, it's that fate, you know, because they listen to, and you even made it clear to me that you've heard things that I've said, even when I wasn't even conscious of some of the things. So when you are pretending around kids, they pick up on all the negative stuff, and they put that together, and it's like, now you're teaching them to just be with somebody just to be. And I believe that's the worst, because everybody deserves to be happy. So we're happy now, you know, and it's like, because there is a mutual respect, and the goal is to be the best parent that we can be for her. Now there's different methods, you know, and I know you've got different questions where, you know, I don't agree with, you know, some of hers, and so I've had to exercise a lot of acceptance, you know, in terms of that decision you were talking about, where you really need to look at that person in their totality when you meet them, because two things could happen. You A, could be with them for the rest of your life, or B, be separate and then have to still deal with them in their way. You know,
that you don't want to be.
That you don't, right, that you don't agree with. And so most of those things are clear when we're being reckless or dating or getting to know a person, but it's magnified when you have children. Because I think my child should be in this type of environment, and they think my child should be in this type. And this is my life, and I can live it the way I want to. So I'm glad you have an attorney, but it's a lot of, I think, just the respect part, to just kind of accept that, particularly when you are separated, that I don't have any control over that over there. So, yeah, I did think it was for the long haul, but it's
okay. Well, since you brought up respect, we'll go into we'll get into the drama part now. Respect is one of the most important things that you can have in this co-parent relationship or co-parent situation, because when the respect is gone, it can be all hell. And so let me say this, like me and my son's mother, when we first separated, like how you said, like I was like, oh, this is a different person. You know, this is a different person. Again, I would never think that I would be going through some of the things that I had to experience. I remember one day, clear as day. For some, don't even remember like what we got into it about. So we got into it, and I had to drop him off to her. So I had to drop him off to her, and she said to me like, "Yeah, you see who got him now, and you probably won't ever get him again."
That's not what you said.
So when she said that to me, my mouth went off as well. You know, my mouth went off as well. But more so than being angered, I was hurt. I was hurt because I told y'all before that I know who my father is, where he is, whatever like that. But there was not like a tight relationship with us. So for me and my son, or my kids and my nieces and my nephews, I've always like taken on that role because I've pretty much seen that role from this guy right here. You know, it didn't matter if they was his kids or not. Everyone that came around was treated as his own. So I took on that same kind of person, that same kind of persona, I guess. And like to hear the mother of my child tell me that I'm not going to see him, when I know that I'm a good father, when I know that I know I'm a good father, I have to like really, you know, try to make sure that what I'm saying is received well. I shouldn't have to deal with that. So, like, how was some of the issues that you have? And I give you this one first because I remember where you know my mom was saying like some of the times, as far as your first daughter, she had to be the middle point in order for you to even get your daughter, or she would go and get your daughter for you so that you could see her.
But my first daughter was really, that was the reckless relationship, one where we were both we were teenagers and you know doing a lot of other stuff, and so when we separated, it was you know, in my heart I really wanted to be married. I don't know where, you know,
Because you didn't see that growing
I
up,
did
right?
not see it growing up, but you know, I am the exception, not the rule. That's not, you know, it's important to me that my kids are a part of my life, and that if I'm in a relationship with a woman, that you know, to try to move it to that level, you know, and it just didn't work. We were sometimes kids do, they, you know, they separate you, you know, because it's a lot more involved now, and sometimes it's kind of like with marriage. Sometimes we're really good friends, then we get married, and that paper makes it where people start acting different. Sometimes kids do that, and so with her, to speed it up to what you asked about, it was really intense in that we hated each other, you know, when we first separated, and we couldn't talk, and actually law enforcement was involved because it just got that bad. You know, it was really, really, really bad. And so as having her come over and then going to buy the clothes, you know, and then taking her back over there, and then when she come back, she got on, you know, so things were different, you know. And I'm conscious, as you stated too, that people listen, and everybody has their own perception of how things work. You know, I'm just saying, I know that I did everything within my power to spend time with my daughter because I felt it was important, particularly because I didn't have my parents, you know, and so it's one of those things where it's like, I'm not going to be. And so the respect part was forced, actually, because after you start seeing how it affects your child, you know, the worst thing I believe that a co-parent could do is bash that other parent, particularly in front of that child. Because whatever you say about that parent, you're saying it about that child when they hear it. Because that's my mother, that's my father, you know. And if you say that about them, what does that say about me? So I had to, you know, bite my tongue to where it was bleeding off. Because there's some things that you want to say that are even true.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Right.
That's the worst part.
Yeah.
That's the worst part.
But is it helpful?
Yeah.
You know? And a lot of times you just got to kind of pull that in. And that's part of, I believe, the maturity and the love that you have for that child. Because it wasn't what I wanted to do. I wanted to tell her, you know, your mother is A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J. So, but that much. In my mind, and again, perception is your reality, and based upon how I wanted our relationship to be and the way it turned out, sometimes your perception is skewed.
Right.
You know, it's like you start, you know, you messed this up, and there's always enough blame to go around.
Absolutely.
So, I can't take, you know, or put full responsibility on her. And out of it all, we still had that beautiful child. And so if nothing else went well, that did. So I don't know if that answers your
No, it
question.
did. It kind of
It gives you
moved.
more,
Right.
because
Yeah.
when you have to relive some of those, because it's really difficult. It's easy to talk about it now, but as I look back, to me the easiest thing was to just take my child and never have to deal with her. When things were going wrong.
Yeah.
I mean, there was some times where it was like it was some good times, but when it was wrong, it was like I wish I never, had to do.
And then too, and I'll let you go, Gabby. But then too, like I always say again, that really I hate to say this. I don't even know how to say it, but I would say a lot of fathers are not in their kids' life.
Yes.
True.
So when I was going to say that it's not the norm, but I shouldn't say it's not the norm. A lot of fathers are not in their kids' life. So when you have that father that wants to be there, and then it kind of makes it hard too when you can say, people are saying that they wish they could chime in. You can, like, leave the questions.
Right.
Leave the questions because we're going to answer them. Lost my train of thought. Go ahead.
All right. Well, we're talking about respect.
Yes,
Right.
and the difficulties that you had,
Ooh.
like in the beginning,
Well, kind of a unique part of our story is that my father and I, we have a really great relationship now, but he started coming around when I was a teenager. So I actually knew Callie's dad before I knew my dad, and his dad was actually my father figure.
Okay.
And being my friend, he saw a lot of the struggles that I had with my dad, because you come into a teenager's life and it's like, where you been? So I'm supposed to learn from you now.
Mm-hmm.
And it's that part of you who really, 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 I wanted to be a daddy's girl, but it was still a struggle with you left me. And these are the things that I had to deal with because you weren't there, and it's your fault. And I don't want to glaze over it. I don't want to hear, I'm sorry, I'm here now. I want to hear, where were you? Why didn't you love me enough to stay and to fight? So these were the things that Drew was privy to, So going into this, it was understanding that I don't care how much the two of us might fight, Callie's parents better make it work. Period. Like, no, lay aside the pride. So there have been moments where, ain't no, hey, how you doing? It's just, you pick her up from school today. She needs this. Okay, you got that? And that was just it. Or it was a quick little handoff in the fellowship hall. You know what I mean? Because Callie's parents still had to work together, even when us as individuals and whatever was happening on the side was, messed up. So with that, I mean, the respect, I want to say it was kind of forced, but it wasn't, because at the core of it, I'm a lover, and I don't want to fight you.
Right.
I don't want it to be this tension there. I'm also not a pushover, and when I believe that something is wrong, I'm going to speak to it. We don't have a schedule. Like, these are my days, these are your days, because he's a traveling musician. So he might be here all week this week, and then next week he might be out of town for 4 days. And when I first had, I remember he was in California for like 3 weeks, and I was like, I can't drive. Like, hey, need your help. Well, I can't fight you, and this is how you make your money. So there was a lot of struggle, a lot of give and take, a lot of, Gabby, lay aside your pride right now and put it into perspective, because I want a family. I wanted the family that I never had. I never wanted my daughter to have to go between two houses, or to never see her parents live in the same household, because I never had that, and it bothered me. And the only way that I saw that was actually through his parents, being raised under them. So there was a little bit of conflict because of what I grew up under, and then what he grew up under, and our different understanding of what co-parenting can lead to if not done properly. Like, my parents argued like cats and dogs at my college graduation.
Really?
To the point where I was like, both of y'all could just go.
Yeah.
Y'all were just a celebration. So our perspectives were a lot different when it came to that aspect of parenting. The foundation was the same, but we just came from two, like, the very, like, very different extreme opposites. So it was a bit of a struggle there, and sometimes It still is.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes it's still even right now. Like
Yeah.
tomorrow might be one of them. Here, Callie, there go your daddy.
Yeah,
You know,
yeah.
situations. Just because we are, I don't know. Like sometimes the way that we think about what it is to co-parent,
Yeah.
or what's the requirement, or how much should I give and how much should you give?
Mm-hmm.
You know, like, or I feel like I'm getting so much right now because you don't know what's happening in my life.
Yeah.
And you know, as a mom, sometimes I feel like maybe this is just not the topic.
No, because
but
I think I know where you're about to
as
go.
a mom, sometimes I feel like we don't have a choice.
Yep, that's my next
Like
question.
if I'm sick, if I don't have the money and you need it,
Yeah.
if I am dog tired, if I have something that I need to do, but you're gone or you're doing whatever, I don't have the option. Like nothing is optional for me. It's all, if she needs it, I make it happen. If I don't have it, I come up with a way to make sure that it gets done. And I feel like it kind of plays with the level of respect or the temperament in that relationship, because there are some things when you live in separate households, this just won't get. Like in the middle of the night when she's having an asthma attack, you never have to deal with that. Or when it's a thunderstorm like last night and I'm tired and I'm sick and I don't feel good, but however I'm feeling doesn't matter because my kid needs me. And it could be the smallest thing. Callie woke up talking about, my nails hurt. Like, mind you, my child she has a flair for the dramatic side, whatever. But I can't ignore her, even though I'm feeling like crap right now, or I'm tired, or I'm stressed out, or I don't know what's going on in my life and trying to figure out the whole adulting thing. I don't have the option to say not now. Whereas there are a lot of things that because she lives with me, that he doesn't have to experience. She ain't never had to pee in his bed, and she ain't never peed in his bed in the middle of the night. And you up, and now you got to go to work in 2 hours. You know, it's just like it's those things, and it kind of plays on that I don't want to say the respect factor, but that, hold on, bro, I don't ask you to do. I'm not asking you for a lot here because there are a lot of things that you can't place a monetary value on. That it's my responsibility to take. It's our responsibility to take care of it but since I'm the one who she lives with, it's all on me all the time. And I think that sometimes plays into my perspective of wait a second. Like, so you mean to tell me you can't do this? You know?
So that's actually on my page. Do men get a chance? Do men get a choice in parenting? Because Carlito actually he went to Central State with us. He posted that yesterday. I was like, that'd be a perfect question to answer. Again, I tell you like how God lines stuff up. Like, how would I see that right before this? So his post was again, you know, do men get a choice in parenting? And I completely understand where you're coming from. And I think it just depends on the guy, because I think you have different type of fathers. Like you have a father who is the money father. You have a father who is the love father. You have a father who is the hands-on father. He's at the dances. He's at the school parent-teacher conference. And then you have fathers who are like hands-on in all aspects. It shouldn't be that way because a mother doesn't get that choice. A mother has to be that way.
No, wait, let me interject.
Go ahead. That's what
I don't want to make it seem like he's just a monetary.
No, I know what you mean.
You know, by any means. One thing that I'll be remiss if I didn't say it is that even though our situation is not ideal, no matter how mad I ever get in an eternity, Callie has a great father. And you can tell that from the way that even she loves on him. Like she adores her father. Literally, it's like, bye, mom. Like, you know. So I would be remiss if I said it like he wasn't hands on, but there are, because we live in two separate households and he travels so much. It's just a reality of
that
the situation.
it's on you majority of the time. And I understand that, and I hope that I didn't give that off, because I was just meaning the different fathers as far as where I see. You know, you have the the dads who only want to be around the kids when it has something to do with sports. So you have a different type of where they feel, and for that mother, that may work for them. But for some people, you have you need all around support, and as for me and my situation, me and my son's mother, we have a schedule. When we get into child support, that's where I'm going to call the lawyer so we can, have some. Yeah.
We're not friends of the court.
Neither are men, but that's what they call it. So I'm gonna go into that as well. But as far as me and my son's mother, I am an all-around hands-on dad. As to where, because of her work schedule and a number of other things, she has an older child as well that stays with her majority of the time, and their co-parent situation is not the same as me and her co-parent situation with my son. So I know that times and requirements are different between each child because she doesn't have that support with the older one as she has with our son. So then, I get that. And then too, like how you say, I feel like, well, look, you really only got to worry about one child, like that. And I know that it's not right or it's not the case, but I do get in my feelings like that, and I feel that kind of way. And I'm entitled to say that I feel like I'll come back and kind of rephrase it, but I do feel that way at times. Like, you really shouldn't be complaining if I ask you to do this, or if I say I cannot do this, because all of this other stuff is done that you're not able to do for whatever situation.
And I feel like her dad would probably say the exact
Really?
same thing.
Yeah.
Okay.
Perception.
It's his perception.
Okay.
Absolutely.
And because he has an older son, and so he has to do things like, if I'm saying that I can't do it, is that it's because I absolutely can't do it. But it doesn't mean that just because you can't do it, and you might have an excuse this time, that it makes it any easier, better, So
because it still got to get done.
It still has to get done, and 9 times out of 10, if you can't do it and I can't do it,
you have
then
to
I
do
still
it.
have to do it.
You have to do it. Great point. What you got?
And that is
because I know you got a lot on this too.
Well, because I've been on both sides, and I can identify with Gabby what she's saying. With most mothers, when the kid is sick, she has to call off work. It's automatically assumed that you should call off from work.
For the
But
nurturers.
yes, you are.
Yes.
But there are some
it doesn't
fathers,
mean that dad cannot.
Right.
There are some fathers where, like my daughter lives with me, and but it's a great relationship in terms of. I think I wouldn't be as emotionally healthy if she was with her mother. I like that she's there because I feel a lot more comfortable with the direction of her life because the way that I was raised, and so that she's there with me, I can identify with. It's like, so whenever something happens, it's just got to be done. She's older now, and it's a lot of things that teenagers deal with. She's a teenager, and she's got all these different personalities, and it's keeping up with the phone, and Mike and I joke all the time with, there's so much technology now, and I'm not, the one to be going through her phone. I'm not on Snapchat, and I'm not on Twitter, and I know that's where a lot of this stuff. I'm not tweeting. But there is, again, this is like marriage. There is no 50-50.
Yeah.
It's 100%, 100%.
Absolutely.
They give 100 of what they can, and you give 100 of what you can. It's never going to be everything is done equally because they're people. It's like it's 7 days. How do you divide those up equally? Even with the friends of the court.
Right.
Somebody's got to do 4, somebody's got to do 3. It's never going to be equal. And so if you can get, again, perspective and to look at what's best for the child, because a lot of times, I get in my feelings and I say, I think her mother should do this.
Yeah.
But in the end, stuff is getting done.
Absolutely.
And a lot of times, what I think is it's not reality. No, sometimes it's just I feel you.
Yeah,
it's my perception.
Yeah.
You should be able to move this around and do this. This is your child, and blah blah blah. And sometimes you just got to really get is this about you trying to still have that control over there,
right?
Or is this something that you can just actually do and just keep it? But sometimes, as people, we want that, acknowledgement.
Yeah.
That's why right now, tomorrow is going to be the hardest day to eat in a restaurant.
Oh, yeah.
Mothers, you guys do it. You should get more days, but, I wouldn't even try to go out and eat.
Absolutely.
Because mothers,
they
do so much, and we get so little credit in a lot of areas because it's expected. Unfortunately, it's like sometimes people look at people and say, "Yeah, but you're good. That's what you should do." And that's not fair all the time. But life is not fair, and so we just we do the best we can from where we are. And she has a great. I like how you came back because a lot of times people minimize what they do because there's some fathers who aren't involved at all,
right?
And so to be able to meet them where they are, as opposed as where we think they should be.
And I think a lot of women, we're emotional. we can be very emotional people, and that can shift our perspective sometimes. So what I challenge myself to do, and I always get it right. I'm not always 100% right in our co-parenting situation, but I try to, when I have the time to, before I respond, just logically think through it. Not in my emotions, not how I feel, not how tired I am, not, how much energy I've put into this week or how crazy Callie didn't, drive me this week, but really think logically about it. And sometimes that'll change my response to him. If I retract my emotions and how I feel about it and just think of the situation logically and say, hey, you really don't know that. You're just trying to infer something. So how about you ask the question first?
That's really,
But I think a lot of, I can't speak for every woman. Me, I can be very emotional and not even realize how much it's affecting my perspective of him sometimes, And because we are friends, he'll call me and say, you know what, I'm going to let you slide on that because I know how emotional you are. And sometimes it'll break it up because I believe, I'm a church kid, but only a fool rejects correction.
Yes.
And so a lot of time it's me putting aside my pride and saying, oh, you can correct me. All right, okay, so you were right there, but as a man, I need you to lay aside that pride too when I'm making a point that is correct. So I think pride gets in the way of a lot of things with grown people, period, saying, you can't tell me because I'm grown and you've grown. And then it's this power struggle from whatever relationship was once there, and you don't still have me. That's your child and not me. We do a lot of finger pointing. I'm sure some of these statements, a lot of people can recognize these. They come up in somebody's argument at some point. And I think that it takes a lot of, forget the pride, forget the dumb stuff. I was wrong and I was being emotional. And okay, but I do still feel like this. Can you try to work with me here?
So but you don't always get to that point.
No, sometimes I go off for sure.
And then sometimes one segue, you have to get the friend of the court involved, as they say. I have my own views of friend of the court, but first I'm going to call the attorney. This is Shannon Urban. We work together at Lakeshore Legal Aid. I gave her a couple questions that she is going to address. I probably should have said that as I had her on the phone. But I'm going to give her a call now to talk about some things and some of the questions and everything that I gave her.
Hi,
Hi, Shannon. How you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
Good. So I have my brother Will here.
Hi, Shannon.
Okay, and I have Gabby here with me.
How you doing?
I'm good.
And you are also on Facebook Live, so you can say hi to everybody else as well. Again, I gave like a brief introduction, but Shannon Urban is a family law attorney, and we kind of connected at where I work now. Shannon doesn't work there anymore. Sad face. But we connected, and she looked at a couple, maybe all of my podcast shows, and she told me that maybe we could do something together. And it was ironic again. I said, well, I do have a co-parenting episode coming up, and I would like, for some legal advice. She's like, okay. So I sent her a couple questions, and then maybe when she gives us the answers, they can drive the conversation somewhere else. So I asked her to like dispel what are some of the myths about custody and child support. So if you want to go ahead, you can go. You can let us know what you think.
Sure. I mean, I think one of the biggest myths is that child support and custody are connected. So they are connected, but just because you pay child support doesn't mean that you have custody or parenting time. And just because you're not paying child support, that it doesn't mean that you don't get custody or parenting time. And so sometimes, the most often the case is with a mom saying, you're not paying child support, so you're not going to see the kids. And the court actually doesn't make that connection. They're two separate things to the court. And I think another thing too is that that child support is something that is for the parent, which it is. Obviously, it goes because the parent is the one paying the expenses, but it's actually the right of the child. So it's the right of the child to be supported. And a lot of times that gets lost in the equation, and parents can think that, well, I'll decide he doesn't have to pay child support, or she doesn't have to pay child support. And really the court is not supposed to allow that anymore. It's really the right of the child, and there's a formula that it's just a mathematical formula that calculates an amount, and that is supposed to be the amount that is used.
So what actually is included in child support? Like, should I get mad if I'm paying child support and she's using the money to pay a light bill, and I say, well, you just called me and told me that he needed some shoes, so that's not a good thing if you need to pay the light bill over the shoes. Yeah, but you get what I mean. Like, what is child support? What is child support mainly used for, or when it's calculated? What does it supposed to go to?
So that's like two questions. So the first is, what is it supposed to do? It's supposed to support the child. So that does include rent and utilities and, all of the things that go into giving a child a home. And it's also, to pay for clothing and food. But I think one misconception that people have too is that, like, well, I'm paying child support, so then when the child comes to me, if you're not the parent that has the child with you most of the time, that the mom or dad should be sending clothing and food, and because you pay child support, so that should all come with the child. And that's not actually true. The support is to balance out the care of the child, and so it's to pay to the parent that has the child with them more to balance the obligation of supporting the child. So it doesn't mean that when you have the child with you, that you're not obligated to then pay for food and shelter for that child when they're with you. So I think that's one thing where people that causes a lot of drama for people in their relationships when it comes to child support, because a lot of times you'll hear, well, I pay child support, so I shouldn't have to pay for anything else. In terms of what child support, how to calculate it, it's basically based on the two incomes, and there's a basic support obligation that is just to pay for the expenses of the child, and then there's an adjustment for parenting time. So however many overnights you have, you get an adjustment to the calculation, and then there's an addition to it for medical expenses and for child care expenses. So those are kind of the three things. So it's based on income. If you have more overnights, you're paying less in support. But if you're paying a lot for medical insurance, that can also lower your support obligation. And same for child care. And that's for both sides. So even if you don't have the majority of the parenting time, so you only have 2 days a week, if you still have to pay childcare for those 2 days a week, that gets factored into the formula.
Oh, well, I didn't know that. I can share that information with someone. I can share that information with someone. Okay, I'm going to do maybe just one more question because I know that you have to go. Well, no, actually, I think that takes care of all of our questions.
I can stay on the call for a little bit if you guys want to just
Okay.
keep talking. I can maybe add into the information.
Okay. So we'll continue to talk, and if you have to go, and we're not going to be too much more longer anyway because we've already been on here for a while at this point, and we have some other things to do. But I do thank you for talking about child support because I've always felt like, as far as child support, well, I paid this, so not that I shouldn't have to, but if I'm paying child support, what you have at your house should be enough, and what I have in my house should be enough. And I know that. Well, I mean, from hearing from you, yeah, that's not always the case.
No.
And that's not always the right mindset when we think about child support, because usually child support doesn't cover, as Christy on the chat is saying, it does not cover the true expenses of everyday living of a child.
Right.
Nowhere near.
So, I definitely agree with that. And that breakdown was wonderful. It was perfect. I know it would help someone.
It helped you.
Yeah, it helped me. Yes, it helped one person. So we're going to actually keep on going down to maybe about 5 more minutes, and then we're going to end it. But we're going to tackle the single mother statement, and I guess this ties into child support as well, because I heard Gabby said earlier, that I'm a single mother. That term is thrown loosely, I believe. Because yes, you are a single mother, but if you have child support, if that father is supporting the child, maybe you should use that term in different. Not that you use it in the wrong way, but a lot of women say, I'm a single mother and I do all this by myself. Well, no, you don't do it all by yourself. Because, So just say that you co-parent with your child, but you're single as far as like the dating, the dating aspect. Because the money that you get supports. It supports.
Right.
Okay.
What's a better term? Because
I don't.
I can for sure say I'm a co-parenter, but I still consider myself a single mom. He's a single dad. I mean, not just so much of dating status, but so much as when she's with me, she's being parented by just one parent. So as much as he might, provide and, we might both show up at her recitals and all of that, but when she's just with me, she's being parented by just her mother. When she's with her father, she's been parented by just her father. And the reason I'll say single is, I guess I didn't realize how important the balance of a mom and a dad was until I had my own child. Because, for example, Callie, when it's time for discipline, I can put on a whole production, okay? I mean, I could just stand on the couch, screaming top of my lungs, it doesn't matter. And she will like, all right, Mom. And her dad can literally say, Callie, stop it. She melts into a pot of tears. And it's like, are you kidding me? I said that 10 minutes ago. And on the flip side of that, when Callie is sick, when she doesn't feel good, as much she's a daddy's girl through and through, but she wants to be held by her mom. Mom, fix me, make me feel better. But when she gets sick with dad, or when she gets in trouble with mom, we have to both take on those roles. He has to become more of a nurturer than maybe he would typically, and I have to become more of a disciplinarian than I would by nature. So in that, I would consider myself a single mom, not taken away from her father by any means. It's not meant to say I'm a single mom, you ain't got no daddy, Not that. And I guess I can see where you're going with saying I'm still a co-parenter or whatever, but I think that's where my whole I'm still a single mom, comes from.
I think single mom is different than single parent. I think that's a better term.
Okay, yeah.
You know, because if you say single parent, that means that I'm raising this child
I'm the only
alone.
Yeah.
But a single mom is that I'm at home, it's just me and my child. So I think that's a great term she coined, which is single mom.
Yeah.
Or I'm a single dad when my child is here. Because there are some legitimate single parents out there who are doing it alone. There's no father there. And so we don't want to minimize that term. I know that people should, you know, be able to look at the difference, because sometimes it's always a bad reflection on the father too when you hear that. It's like, oh, you're a single mom? I mean, a single parent?
Yeah.
Where's the daddy?
Yeah.
You know, and it's like, well, he's there, we're just not together. So I think, not that it's gonna make a big difference to most people, because you know people don't really sparse those words.
I look at words.
You do because
of
your situation. But most people, when they hear single mom, you know, that's just that I'm not with the dad. It's just
Not that there is no.
Right.
Because you're a single dad.
Yeah.
You know, it doesn't take away from
right.
take away the role of the mom.
Right.
That's what it is.
I just that term when it gets thrown around again, and especially when we have the friend of the court involved, and weekend arrangements and all that stuff. Like it's not only on you, and I believe that, not taking away from mothers, but a lot of mothers they do that, and it's like I don't know, a pity party or look for sympathy or.
I know a few.
Yeah.
I know.
You know, and I think that they think that there's a presumption that you know the court's going to favor the mom, which sometimes does happen. But you know, agreeing. So the co-parenting plan that they have in place, if you look at like Wayne County, they have a website to look up their co-parenting plan, and it just says every other weekend and one overnight during the week, and that's not really co-parenting.
Right.
You know, people could push back on that and say no, like you know, you can do whatever you want. You can do 2 days a week, 1 week, and then 3 days the next week, you know, to kind of even it out. But I've always thought of single mom, when you say that, as that means that she's the mom, the person that's primarily caring for the dad, or for the kids.
Yeah.
Maybe the kids are with the dad like every other weekend. And then she really is a single mom.
Yeah,
you know, because every other weekend is not a lot.
It's not a lot.
Fathers sometimes end up in that situation because they don't push back.
Because they don't
with the court.
Well, that wasn't happening.
Yeah, I think it's our perspective. I think it's the same way why people are so like, don't call me no baby mama. Like, I'm not baby's mama. My baby calls me mama. I'm her mama. Like, I don't feel like, I don't really feel some type of way. I'm like, I mean, I jokingly say it because I know how people feel. I'm like, that's my baby daddy. Like, we don't say that because he's not a baby daddy and you're not a baby mama. Like, in fact, we are. I understand the stigma that's associated with it.
So that's why I go.
You're just like, because of the stigma that's associated with single mom and baby mama, baby daddy, you know, because it's a stigma associated with it. It doesn't bother me because it doesn't apply in my situation.
Right.
Like, I'm gonna take you to court, child support, get everything you got, you know, and collect welfare checks. That's not my situation. So you call me a baby mama, I'm her mama.
Yeah. Well,
you know?
The situation is different,
right?
That's my baby.
My son's mother better not call me a baby daddy. Just better not call me that.
And I think that if we were in an argument, I would be like, did you have baby daddy? Like, you know, but jokingly, I think that we have the relationship to where I can like, all right, baby daddy, you know, like whatever, because that relationship is there. The same way, I wouldn't just say, hey, honey. So you like, girl, you don't know me like. Yeah. I think it has a lot to do with maybe relationships when it comes to your situation.
Absolutely. Okay, I'm going to do this. We're going to take some questions from people. Say it just seems so ratchet to me.
It's the stigma. It's the stigma.
I'm going to let you go ahead and Gabby, just go ahead and give everybody like their contact information, whatever you want to give. If you have any events coming up or anything like that. And then I'll let you go because I know you have somewhere to be. And then we'll go ahead and we'll answer like some of the questions that are on here. So go ahead, guys.
Okay, well, I'm on Facebook as Gabrielle Ruffin and on Instagram at Gabby Ruffin. So that's how you can contact me. I don't tweet.
Okay.
I guess I should get back on. It's a thing now.
Yeah.
But but that's how you can contact me. I'm working on a few projects. That's where I'm actually going right now. I'm the assistant director for a short film that will be coming out soon called 9 Years. So look for it.
Okay.
You know, it'll be coming out soon.
And before you go, any advice that you want to give people who are going through a co-parent situation?
I would say first and always consider the child above everything else. And I know a lot of us say that we do, but really consider it. Growing up without my dad had a huge effect on me. And we're great now, but a lot of those feelings that I created about, that was, supposed to be your first love, and he wasn't there. And that created a lot of situations that I think otherwise I may have been able to avoid with trying to replace that. So I know a lot of times there are situations where you didn't pay me your child support, you can't see your kid. Who's winning there?
Yeah.
Is your child really winning in that situation? Is it really all about the money? I mean, if it's an unfit parent, then hey, who am I to judge that? But really, if we just all sincerely put our children first, before our feelings, before our pride, before our money, before our stressed out life situations and all of that, and really just consider how this is going to affect my child in the long run. Because I think a lot of times we think about the here and the now and the diapers and the food and the formula, but that little person that you're molding up into an adult, how is the absentness, is that a word? I don't know. How is the lack of presence of either parent going to affect or to mold their child, or seeing whatever it is that you're saying about your child's parent, how is that going to mold them and influence them? And I think that if we really just put that above our own personal needs and desires and attitudes, then I think it will put a lot of things into perspective, and that we could scale back a little bit on all the fighting and the arguing and the who's doing the most and who isn't, and really just do what's best for the kids.
And it takes time, though. We have to stress that. It takes.
Nobody gets it right. Like, so you might have cussed him out last night because you was eating your feelings. But next time, just consider that maybe you should hold your tongue a little bit.
Yeah.
And try to make it work, and maybe try to be friendly and say, hey, how you doing? So that, to try to create a peace treaty to say, look, I don't want you no more. I really don't think the most of you, but you're my kid's parent. You're my kid's parent, and we're stuck together, so we might as well be pleasant. And that's it.
Okay.
Be pleasant. Do everything with love. What would Jesus do? He would handle it with love.
Yes, he would. Go ahead. Somebody first lady.
All right.
Somebody first lady. Okay.
Well, I'm out of here.
Yes, thank you so much, Gabby. Also, Gabby, if you can do me a favor, if you do see your name in the mentions, like, just go ahead and view it and respond if someone addressed you or whatever like that.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, and that's fine. And battery about to be low and everything else, so that's perfect. So Shannon, you want to go ahead and give us, some upcoming events or some things that you're working on, or if you want people to contact you or whatever.
Yeah, so I'm in the midst of working on my website, which is actually going to have resources for people that are going to court on their own without an attorney.
Okay.
So you can check out my Twitter is just at Shannon Urban, and it's Shannon, and then my last name is URBON. And so I'll put a post there when the site launches later this summer.
Okay. And I also will make sure that stuff is posted on this video, so that they can be able to get in contact with you.
Okay, great.
Yeah. And again, thank you so much. I really appreciate it.
Thanks, Shannon.
Take care.
All right.
Thank you.
All right. So let me put this on the charger too. Me and Will going to answer a couple questions, and then if this can fit.
Wanna move it over? So I don't see it. Are these the only comments that I see on here?
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, no, it's the ones at the top. So let me get this.
Hmm.
I knew that this topic would be a good topic, but I would say that I am really impressed with the turnout and the questions and everything that we have here. So I'm just go through a few of them. One of my fraternity brothers, he said that, man, I guess this is perfect that it's only me and you left, because he said most men don't want to be in court for anything.
Yeah.
And that is true. I mean, it's just like the doctor. You know, I'm gonna go so you can tell me something bad. You know, but I will say that while I don't always agree with the terms of child support. I do believe that in a couple of instances that me and my son's mother has had, it has protected me. She can't get mad and say that, you know, you can't see me, that you can't see your son.
Yes.
She can't say that, oh, well, I'm moving to Alabama,
Yeah.
and I'm taking him with me.
Absolutely.
So there is a benefit to it, but then again, going for as far as like a man who is in their child life, like I really don't feel like I need to be on it. You know, I'm gonna make sure that he's taken care of regardless, whether I was on it or not. But then you have certain things that goes into why child support is even mandated for certain people. You know, sometimes, and depending on the case, it's not always the point of that the mother puts them on child support. It can be because they're receiving assistance. It can be for, you know, a number of things. I remember someone, I'm not going to say who told me this, but I remember someone told me, you know, don't sign a birth certificate. because if you sign a birth certificate, then they're coming after you. But I mean, again, you know, you do what's right. You know, you do what's right. And then you deal with what comes afterwards. And as long as it's right in the right mindset, it'll work out the way it should.
Yeah. And Shannon said something that a lot of us don't fight.
Yeah.
Because you all often hear that this is Michigan and it's a woman's state, and for the most part, women, you know, do have a lot of rights, but like you said, it does protect us in the area where we can at least see our kids. The saddest thing, in my opinion, is that, you know, more people fight about getting money than that parents spending time.
Yeah.
See, I think it should be the opposite. And I know there's some people that you don't want your kids to spend any time with, but you'd rather have their money. So I'm saying, what's more important, time or money? You know, and people put a lot of focus on that. But the courts they'll make it so if I only make, you know, whatever minimum wage is, and you make $100 an hour, they want to create a little balance so that when that kid is over there with you, you know, that they can have some of the, you know,
same community.
Some of the same. It's not going to be equal, but to kind of make, because you did it together. And so the kid, they consider the kid. So no, I don't ever want to go to court, but sometimes it does work in our favor because you can't fight when a person is scorned and they're angry and they say you can't see your child. It's traumatic.
And then that's when everything else starts, as far as when that anger gets in.
Yeah.
I mean, and really at that point, neither one of y'all are thinking clearly.
No. Because anger,
and then even that can go against you. That can go against both of y'all in the court.
And it hurts the child.
Yeah, and it hurts the child. Yep.
Absolutely.
So let me go to another question or another statement. So Chrissy said something about, yes, please say it louder for the folks in the back.
That was for Gabby.
Oh, okay. Oh, single parent and single mom.
Yeah.
Okay. So my sister on here, Tammy, she said co-parenting is best for most situations. I can't say, I mean, I value your opinion, but I can't say for most. Again, co-parenting was not my ideal situation for my son.
Right.
and you know, it makes it again. It's difficult for the child, and it's difficult for the parent as well. But like again, maybe in your case, it works best for you because the parent is not fit for the child, or maybe just wild and a whole bunch of other things that can go into why they shouldn't have the child. So I wouldn't say that it's best for most situations, but I'd say it is the best situation for outlandish situations, or you know, when it calls for it. Yolanda says that yes, it's important. Well, no, I mean, Melissa. Yes, it's important as young as my baby is. Hearing his father's voice opposed of mine, there's a huge difference. So I'm guessing that goes to what Gabby was saying about the different reactions that her daughter gets than her son. I mean, than what she gets. And yeah, that is true. I mean, it's just the the man, the bass and the sternness and the size and everything like that. Because I've seen my son at his mom's house, and I'm like, oh, he don't do that with me.
Yeah.
You know, he don't do that with me. He doesn't get away with that with me. But it's that dynamic.
Yeah. And that's with mothers, and you see the same thing with fathers, where we would let the girls get away.
Yeah.
I'm hard on the boys, but the girls, I'm on.
I heard a statement, and it said it made me really think. And it said when you look at a family dynamic, it said that mothers they mother their sons, and they raise their daughters.
Yeah.
And then as far as the fathers, it wasn't a quote with it, but you get fathers are hard on their boys, and then the girls get away with everything. You know, so it's just that dynamic. Yolanda, child support doesn't constitute someone being a parent. So I consider that being a single mom. Okay. However, if you have that all-around supportive father who comes to the games, involved in schooling, helps make decisions, etc., then I would use the co-parent term. Again, that goes into different things because I mean I don't know if this is your case, but would you consider being a single parent if the father supported the child monetarily but wasn't around physically? You know, it's different things and it's different ways that different support systems that give you different ideas or your vantage points or how you perceive your situation. Co-parenting isn't easy as people think.
No.
It's not easy at all.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know how it will be easy. It's not easy at all. But okay, so we're going to get ready to close this. I want to shout out my cousin Mike Smith. He was actually supposed to sit on the panel. I think my brother Will for filling in for him. But Mike was supposed to fill in on the panel. And he didn't want to come in today because he's kind of dealing with some of these things. And what I told my co-host was that when we get here, it's not going to be any bashing. It's not going to be any putting down the other mate. And he felt that if he was to come, that will come up and it will come out in this presentation. And we didn't want to have it. He thought it was best for him to sit this one out. And I do appreciate you for even being willing to sit it out, but I appreciate you for willing to come and talk if things were a little bit different as well. So I appreciate you, cuz. It'll get better.
Yes.
Well, I don't know better, but you'll learn how to
This
manage.
too shall pass.
Yes, this too shall pass.
Yes.
This too shall pass. So listen, Will, you got any closing remarks? You have anything coming up? You have anything that you want to share with them about the topic? Let them have it.
Well, first I'd like to thank you for the call today.
Yes.
And inviting me here is always a privilege to be part of any project that you're involved in. I'm very, very proud and impressed with the life that you lead, and I'm grateful. This was a great discussion. You had a wonderful co-host, Gabby. Brought a lot of insight, and I enjoyed it. I agree with you in that there's no easy way to co-parent, but if we can, and she said it, take ourselves out of the
Mhm.
equation. It's really about the child. Again, it's kind of, and I keep going back to this, it's like a marriage. There's no 50-50.
Yeah.
People keep thinking that
Mhm.
you're going to always fall short. It's, this person, you got to be able to meet people where they are.
Mhm.
And then in the end, realize that it's ultimately about the child. On our job, it's like we go there. Most jobs aren't ideal,
Mhm.
but they pay the bills and they allow us to
Absolutely.
be productive. And so, with the children that's being raised today, we need to really look at what society is coming to now. And it's because a lot of us are so selfish
Mhm.
and caught up with, I hate you, so I'm gonna make you suffer. When you punish them, it's like they say about resentment. It's you drinking poison, hoping somebody else gonna die.
Yeah.
When you hurt their father, you hurt them.
Mhm.
That is that person, and regardless of how bad they are. So I'm just grateful. It just kind of reinforced a lot of things and allowed me to be conscious of how difficult certain situations, and made me grateful for how mine
Mhm.
are, because
Mhm.
the people that I'm involved with, we do well, and so I'm grateful for that. I'm not, like I stated earlier, I'm not a big social media.
Mhm.
I got my old antiquated Facebook page that I
Don't post.
don't post.
Yeah.
I go on and I read, and I keep up with a few people, and I'll be able to view this on there.
Yes.
So that's about it. And again, thank you. And this too, I meant that for Mike. It will pass.
Mhm.
It's ups and downs, and those things make us stronger, though. Believe it or not, it made me stronger.
Absolutely.
Just kind of getting outside of myself, because generally I'm so self-absorbed, and so kids really make you. And if you do it to the best of your ability, it's just nice to see once they grow up.
Absolutely.
And realize,
Yep.
the influence.
And then you see their what they viewed or how they thought about it.
Yes.
Yes,
Absolutely.
So that's really good. You said something I wanted to touch on, but I can't remember it now. So I'm going to, I started reading another comment. But I'll just say that my closing remarks is that, again, co-parenting to me is not an ideal situation. I had a conversation with my son's mother before, and she kind of, I think, misconstrued what I said, because I told her before that I have seen co-parenting situations work. And I think she took that as that I meant that that's like the ideal situation. No, that's not ideal, but it can work. And as I was saying before, it just takes time, because, again, when things are in the heat of things, no one is thinking clearly, and it can just be so chaotic. And for some people, chaos is okay, but for me, I couldn't deal with that. So I mean, while, again, she may have had a lot of long nights crying for whatever situations that she was going through when he was in her care, I've had a lot of nights crying for me at times not being able to be as hands on as I wanted to be. So it just goes back and forth. But it has to be a team effort. That's the main thing. Is you have to come together and you have to make it work for you guys, because co-parenting situation is not going to work for me and my son's mother. You have to talk, and you have to come through. You have to be level headed. And sometimes it may be better to just like back away. When you feel those situations getting heated, or you feel tension in the air, it's just best to be like, okay, you over there, and I'm over here, because, again, if it keep on balling out of control, then you'll never know what'll happen. You get people putting hands on each other, and it all comes from just as an argument. I mean, and we say that it can't happen to us, and we say that it won't, but we cannot say that it can and it won't happen to us. So that's my little spiel. Again, I thank my brother Will. I thank Gabby. I thank Shannon for calling in. Shannon, we really appreciate that.
Thanks, Shannon.
Yes, I know that you really helped some people with the information you gave. All the information that we have told you that is coming up, it will be posted, as far as the details for this. Again, I am your favorite family member, Uncle Mike. You can follow the podcast at Let's Talk About It Podcast. If you put the hashtag in LTAIPOD, that's at LTAIPOD, you will definitely find all of, somebody threw my comment, my spiel off as the comment just came through. You can follow everything at LTAIPOD. Let's talk about a podcast. Again, I do thank you for listening and tuning in. Of course, this will be on all of the platforms. It'll be on YouTube. You can also view it again here on Facebook. You can also view it or listen to it audio through SoundCloud for those when you're driving in your car and you want to hear a great discussion. So again, you enjoy your day. If no one has told you that they love you today, remember that Uncle Mike loves you. And again, I appreciate you for watching. Appreciate you. And this video.